Hello, everybody. Welcome to Arsenal Fan Circle. It is the Sunday show. This one's titled "A Generation." A generation awaits, right? An Arsenal generation awaits, and I've been lucky enough to see Arsenal. I've just been totting it up since I've been supporting Arsenal. 17 trophies, not counting Community Shields because we don't count those things, right?
They're just a
uh,
bonus. Yeah.
I've witnessed 5 league titles, 5 league wins. Wow, it's been a few years since we did that, right? Um,
Just a few, yeah.
more FA Cups. I think I've got a total of 9 FA Cups that I've witnessed um, as a supporter. 2 League Cups. I actually forgot about the one in 1987 and one Cup Winners' Cup. So that's 17 trophies. But it just occurred to me. Well, it hasn't occurred to me. It's been out there. We have a whole generation of Arsenal fans who I would question why you follow Arsenal, because have we shown that ambition in the last 20 years or so? Um, just like the dying embers of a flame, we're hoping something can get reignited here moving forward. But definitely, I feel every window has become crucial to us, and now more so than ever. I feel this is a crucial window, and we're right in the middle of a crucial time in the window. Yeah, we can get Fabio Vieira, and we can get Gabriel Jesus. A couple of links that maybe explain pretty easily with the links to Arteta, Manchester City links. Pretty easy to do. We got a couple of projects in there. Marquinhos being one of them. Matt Turner. Uh, Very hard to say if we upgraded in the goalkeeping position, and I think we'll talk about cover. A section in this podcast will be: are we happy with the cover positions if Partey goes injured, if Tierney goes injured, and what we need? I think we all know what we need in this window. But yeah, listen, I wanted to bring in Matt and Gary. They're here with me right now. We're expecting a couple more. Stan, if he wakes up in time, but definitely Matt here from South Africa, and Tony if he gets back from Walmart or wherever he's at. So, Matt, that was my little diatribe at the start of the podcast. Looking back, are we losing a generation of Arsenal fans, or are they just hanging on by a thread? And we need to get back to winning ways. We can do it in FA Cups. We can do it in this and that, but we need to be competitive in the Premier League, but maybe even more so in the Champions League.
Yeah. Hi, Ray. Hi, Gary. Hi, everyone in the
Hello.
chat. Good to see everybody today. Yeah, it's like you said, it's a crucial time for us as a club. Obviously, every window for quite a while has been one that we've all hoped would be the one where we go and make a number of big signings and change things up a bit. But I think this one in particular is such a pivotal one because Arteta is meant to be the guy that is now changing the club, is taking it forward. There's a plan supposedly in place, for us to do that, change the culture, change the position of the club, bring us back to winning ways and take us back to, the Champions League, the glory days, challenging for titles again. He's been given a lot of money. He's invested in the squad. He's cleared out deadwood. He's kind of put the foundations in, which I must say, actually, he's done very well. I think they've picked some really solid young players to build a foundation from. But this is really critical this summer because this is where they're adding that little bit of stardust. As Edu mentioned, be excited. This is where we're going to add the experience and the quality. We know what we want to go and do and who we want to go and get. So, they're saying all the right things. They're saying they've got a plan. So this is now their chance to kind of, proof is in the pudding. Go and do your business. Prove that you have this plan in place. So far, fine. We got Gabriel Jesus, which is brilliant. I think he's going to be a fantastic addition to the squad. I think he'll get a really decent tally for us this year. Vieira, that came out of nowhere, which shows, Arsenal can move quietly. Not everybody knows what's going on with the club. I think, all of these accounts that are claiming to have inside sources, I think when deals like that pop up, it just goes to show that actually not everything you see on Twitter or in the news and everything else is always right. There are things that are going on in the background that we're not as fans or even the media are aware of, because that deal just came out of nowhere. So I'm kind of hopeful that, you know, we are doing things in the background. I know the Rafinha deal hasn't really come off. Tielemans has gone very quiet, although apparently we've agreed some terms with him, but we haven't kind of pressed the button yet and gone for that just yet. You know, Martinez seems to be making his choice between, you know, us and United. So there's a lot that's up in the air at the moment, but, you know, you've got to hope that we have a plan B for these guys. You know, I think midfield is our, at the moment, wingers are nice, but we've got a lot of flexibility across the front line. But I think where we really struggle at the moment is the centre of midfield, because like you said, Ray, and alluded to, was that, you know, are we happy with Partey and Xhaka? Personally, I think they make a good pair. Do I think that's enough depth? No, we got Lokonga there, but I don't think he's quite ready to take up the mantle just yet. I think we need a really good, experienced centre midfielder there. And I think we have to go and strengthen in that area this summer. And I think that would be a big, costly mistake for us, especially with the number of competitions we've got. If we don't go and do that. And then you've got the concerns really over, I mean, I know Saliba's coming back for centre back, which is great. But then you look at our left back situation and you think, well, okay, Kieran Tierney, not exactly, you know, able to stay fit seemingly for the whole season. So that's a concern when you've got Tavares, who has been really hit and miss, quite young. Talked about him going on loan. So what's going to happen at left back and again right back? Tomiyasu, fantastic, but again injuries. I don't really want to have to be relying on Cedric, and we've got Bellerin coming back. But again, you don't want to be going backwards; you want to be going forwards. So there's probably 3 positions there that I think we really do need to sort out. So it's going to be interesting. We've got plenty of time left, but let's see. I'm keeping my fingers crossed.
Yeah, listen, I want to ask everybody out there in the chat box, and while Mahir gets himself settled in, welcome Mahir. I'll bring Gary in, and then we'll go to Mahir on this. So, Gary, what's your thoughts on? We're at a critical point in the window right now. Okay, people are saying there's plenty of time in the window, but we don't want to go down the same road we did last summer, not be ready for the start of the season. It's critical here. The league is not going to be a marathon. It's going to be 2 sprints this season, sandwiched in between with a World Cup in between it. So we need to be ready moving forward. And listen, I don't want to be starting to panic just yet, but we do have a game, the first game of preseason in the official one in Germany. I'm not counting that 5-1 behind the scenes training session with bigger goals yesterday.
Behind the scenes bullshit.
All right, we'll go to Gary first, then we'll have Mahir's thoughts on it. So, Gary, what's your snapshot right now? It's the first show of July. So, where are we at, Gary?
All right, so I got a couple things, and then I'll get to that. Hello everybody in the chat. See, Noe's in there. Steven, Mr. Tom is in there. Craig Malloy. I've been seeing him in the chats a couple times, so good to see you on here. Noe, BX Gunner, Ball 75, and Mr. Sam. Thanks for all joining us. You were talking initially when you first started about your, what you've seen from Arsenal, the good days, and how can a fan who hasn't seen that still stick around? And I even though I was born in England, I really did not pick up following Arsenal as much until about 2012. So I haven't seen them do anything really big, even when they came close to winning a title. I don't think it wasn't as close as it seemed at the time. It's close now, but it was closer then. Now you're looking, you're like, I don't know how close it was, So it's kind of hard to. But I have, I've been around for the 3. I think it's 3 FA Cups since I've been watching. Didn't see the first one. I don't think that I wasn't going out of my way to find and look at Arsenal. Was it 4 since 2012? Okay, yeah, I can't. I knew. Yeah, so yeah, but I wasn't following them enough where I was just chasing down every kind of stream I could because I didn't even know it existed. So not as big time as I do now. I'll search out and find it. But yeah, no, it was a team I was familiar with when I was little, and it was a team I decided to pick up on as the team I was going to follow. So born in London, even though West London, 10, 10 yeah.
How does your first 10 years feel?
Dude, I know how pissed off you guys are because it's when your team has been consistently good, and then it's been 18 years since you've actually you won, and in the last 18 years you only had a chance once, and that was to a team that you would never thought would have won if things were normal in a season. So yeah, I think I can see how it's been painful. I'm along for the ride, so I'm here for the to the end. But yeah, it's stressful. I can imagine the younger generation isn't patient anyway, so they won it yesterday, and that's for everything, not just Arsenal. So yeah. So yeah, FA Cups are cool, but they don't get you. They don't,
We
they
want
don't.
more.
You can't call yourself the Arsenal if the FA Cups is kind of where you kind of that's where your eclipse, and that's your peak. Nah, it's got to be more than that. So hopefully that's the plan. We'll see. But as you were talking about the transfer, the transfer window, it started out pretty strong. It looked like they had a plan, which they told us they would because they didn't do anything in January. Started out strong. Looked like they had a lot of targets they were going to get, really good targets. All it seemed we needed to do was just put some money to it, and then we would have got it. I think either we would have got it or we would have moved on. I don't like the way that we drag our feet and wait for something else to happen. It's like when you're driving down the street and the person's in front of you and they're driving just slow enough that if the light turns yellow, that they'll stop. No, you just go through it, right? And if it turns yellow and you have enough time, then you slow down. Otherwise, you just go, right? We're like waiting for something bad to happen, and of course it does, because that's what happens in this game. If you don't put your head down and attack the goal, guess what? Somebody will come up and just take the ball right off your feet. This is kind of what these targets look like, right? We've been sitting around. Now there was always this word that maybe somebody else would jump in late. At least once you put down a number, they tell you whether they're coming or not. Arsenal doesn't want to do that. I guess they feel like if they get put down the number, something it'll go up, and if it does and they don't want them, they just move on. Mm-hmm. They haven't learned the art of just moving on when it's done. Right? Player doesn't want you, you move on.
Absolutely.
Mr. Tom said Arsenal won so many FA Cups that Gary's lost count.
They're just a nice trophy to have. They're not. If that's the pinnacle of the rest of Arsenal and the rest of my fandom, then I'm in trouble, dude. That's gonna be a painful. What? How long do I have to live? I don't know.
No, Gary, you still have another. You look like you look like you just turned 40 though. So
I wish I looked like I wish I was turning 40. I stopped counting at 39. Let's just say I stopped 12 years ago counting at
aging
39.
backwards.
Yeah.
As Craig said, I want Arsenal challenging or competing for a league title. That's my standard.
And you know what? And we don't. The one thing we don't hear is we don't hear from anybody at Arsenal. I don't think enough that's what they're doing. They're like, we're going to play some good football. Everybody wants to play good football, but we want to we want to be able to give our, have bus rides, right? At the end of the season, we want our team on a bus, right? Right?
Mr. Greenwood said, fact, in 2001. We won them so many times, I guess, the FA were going to let us keep the FA Cup trophy. Make a new one because we won it 2 years in a row.
And you know what? That was pressure, right? They put a little bit of pressure on Arsenal, and voila! Guess what? It gets taken away from them.
Well,
that's kind of what we've seen. That's what we've seen.
In cup finals, these things will happen. You're gonna win more. Well, we've won more than we've lost. That's for sure in the FA Cup. Yeah. But we want more. We definitely want more. As Craig said, we must not excuse or accept mediocrity. The team has to be built with purpose to win. Since we last won the league title in 2004, it's been a steady diet of top four for about 12 years, and then Arsene Wenger came to the end of his tenure. We dropped out of top four in the 16-17 season, and from then it's been 6th, 5th, 2 8th place finishes, and now 5th place. So we're hoping we're coming back around. We're orbiting back around. We have to hope that that's the way, and we have to keep the pressure. If the club needs pressure applied to them, the fans need to do it, you know. But listen, I'm going to go to Mahir. 4 FA Cups in the last 8 years, Mahir, but we want more. We want to be pushing that top 4, pushing into that top 4 bubble, consistently stay there. And if we're not going to be, at least compete for a league title, but the Champions League could be the ticket for a team like Arsenal.
I mean, it depends on how you look at it. You know, referring to our transfer business, yeah, we started off blistering, but it's all unknown names. Marquinhos for the future, trusting the process, American goalkeeper. I don't have anything against anybody staying in America. Just in case you guys get on my case.
You didn't say anything about the other two players. So yeah, you do have something about America. So yeah. All of you Arsenal fans, the Americans are screwing up your sport.
I love you guys, but
no, it's not.
I'm just saying it's like unknown.
Hey, without
pedigree. Say it without saying it.
It's like boom. Everybody knows what you're talking about, right?
But I mean, you know, like with the players we've signed, even Marquinhos, we signed Fabio Vieira, and like it's unknown names, guys. Like, shout out to everybody in the chats, first of all, the Arsenal fan circle family, and shout out to you guys as well, the panel. Everybody's here, everything is coming, hopefully full circle. I want Arsenal back to winning league titles as we did in 89, 91, 98, 2002, and the last one in 2004. But like Ray was saying, if you guys ask me about my expectations or what I think we should be doing, minimal is the FA Cup. And for example, like going on and winning the Europa League, Ray has said, yeah, it could be a ticket for us. I mean, you never know, but not with the current squad we have. Yeah, 2004 does feel really long ago.
No. Tom's going to disappear. Next thing you're going to know, he's going to be... You know.
We can only do that after he delivers Rafinha to us.
Okay, so you know what? There you go. You got that right. Yeah. Then we'll...
Can I ask you guys a question? Do you guys think Rafinha is worth 65 more?
No.
And you guys think...
So maybe we dodge a bullet as much as we need a winger?
No.
And you guys think Ben White's worth 50?
No. Hell no.
So you guys hesitated, so I guess you guys think 50 is
right
okay.
there.
I think that's... I mean,
man. Really? Gary and I are staunch believing that.
I thought it was a lot when we got him, and he... As much as everybody's like watch him play, he looks okay. Not enough for the 50. Not enough for the 50.
No, you know how much
you got Gabriel for half of that, and you're like, once he fills in, he'll be worth more than 50. Gabriel. Where's White's potential isn't as big though, huh?
British tax.
No, I get it. I get that. But like, you could have bought some. I would have rather us buy somebody else for 60 then that we know is really good, right? Like a Dunk. If it was 10 mil extra to get Dunk, would you?
There we go.
And not said a word. I bet you would have been complaining that was too much for the better defender in that team, right?
Do you know what though?
No. Answer that question first. If they went and got Dunk for 60, would you say that's too much? If they went and got Dunk for 60, would you say that was too much?
Yeah.
Okay, but 50 for White's okay, and he's not the better.
Not necessarily okay, but at the end of the day, the players are only worth what clubs are willing to pay for them. At the end of the day, I mean, we're all fans, and we can say we know loads about football or claim to, but he's got a market value, and that's what their value was when we went to buy him, and that's what we paid. And to be honest, like there is a certain English tax. Like I said, I probably would have thought that maybe he would have been worth around the 35 mark, personally. But do you know what? They've obviously seen something in him. They've obviously thought he'd pair well with Gabriel, which he has done. He's young. He's obviously one for the future. So they see that as an investment rather than, yes, it's an expensive outlay, but they'll see that as an investment. And ultimately, we get so hung up on money spent, and we were talking about, is Rafinha worth 60, 65 million? Do you know what? It's not our money.
Yeah, but here's the thing.
clubs
Here's the
run
thing. I know it's not
really
our
well.
money,
You
but
want value for money, though.
Has Arsenal's defense been that bad since Arteta's been here?
What's that? Sorry.
I mean,
each window,
it's improved.
Each window they go out and spend more money on it, and the problem has always been midfield and scoring. We can't put the ball in the net. That's with Emery.
This is what we've addressed
midfield
Gary,
with Emery, right? So we put more money, and I don't know if you saw like the stat. We've put a large percentage, over half of our monies, towards fixing the defense. That hasn't actually. We're not going to see the improvements right away, of course, but we've got bigger problems in front of it, right? Bigger problems. And where is games won and lost? In the midfield, right?
Yeah.
Everybody says that, but then we don't fix that problem. And then we're like, all right, we got more money. We're right now, we got Tierney, and that's not working, so we got to go out and spend another, potentially another 30 to 40.
As well.
And it's not necessarily about the money. It's just that the allocation of funds towards fixing things, when you just kind of neglect other areas, and then guess what? Always come back to bite us.
Okay, listen, we started out with Mustafi and Socrates, so we have we have improved. Colonel Mustafi,
I've been here and I watched Shamak play up front for us. So tell me, and that's what I saw in my early days of my Arsenal fandom. So
I'm sorry, Gary. I'm really sorry.
So I saw a lot of players. I mean, no.
Apologies.
So
for
so it's not been nice. And it's like then you see a Robert Van Persie. You're like, damn, this is pretty good, and that doesn't last.
Let me. So listen, let me take you through what we've done in the last 18 years, and I'll do it as quickly as possible. After winning the league with 90 points, the invincible season, we came second to Chelsea. Abramovich came in, started throwing his weight around. Second on 83 points. The next season, 05-06, was the Champions League season, I believe. Fourth place on 67 points, so a drop off. And then it continued on fourth place, 68 points. 07-08 was the Eduardo season. Eduardo had his ankle busted up in Birmingham. And William Gallas wearing the number 10. That's a whole different story. Crying on the pitch. We got 83 points in third place. We fell away. That was a league that possible year we could have won the league, 07-08. But with that Eduardo injury, it put pay to that. 08-09, fourth place on 72 points. You can see now we're very close to 72 points. Possibly next season will be around in the 70s. 09, third place, 75 points. 10-11, fourth place, 68 points. 11-12, third place. This was the Shamak times, 70 points. 12-13, fourth place, 75 points. 13-14, fourth place, 79 points, and we won the FA Cup, bridging the drought of 9 years that the media was very, very quick to remind us about all of the time. I see teams around our league not being reminded about their droughts, trophy droughts, and all that stuff. 14-15, third place on 75 points. And then we had that challenge that Gary was talking about, 15-16, the year Leicester won the league. No other teams were involved, really. Leicester were very, very good. You have to say, hold your hands up. They held their nerve. We finished on 71 points, and we were third until the last day of the season when Tottenham became Spursy. That would be the last year that we finished above Spurs until now. It's been sort of, 6 years now. We've been looking behind Spurs, close to them, but not ahead of them.
You know what that probably is? That's one of those signs where you look back and go, that was the one you needed to win, because like you said, as soon as you didn't, it's just been painful, right? You keep looking up the table at that team.
Yeah. 16-17, fifth place under Wenger. 17-18, sixth place under Wenger, 63 points. that was the end of Wenger and had to leave at that point. Emery comes in 2018-19 for a fifth place finish on 70 points. So I believe we're coming back. People will say, we're back to where we were maybe 5-6 years ago, but we need to push on further. We can't just rest on our laurels to be on 70 points. We got 69 points last season. Arteta comes in, and we know about the two eighth place finishes. Probably very different seasons, in my opinion. Half a season, he galvanizes the likes of Mustafi, Socrates, utilizes Aubameyang and certain other elderly players to get an FA Cup win. Yeah, it's an FA Cup, but it's something. And many will say he's still living off of the FA Cup win a little bit.
Sure.
The next season was atrocious, Mahir. 2021, eighth place finish. We got 14 points after 14 games. Relegation. We were down in the relegation zone. And of course, last season, started off in the relegation zone and was able to lift ourselves up to fifth place. I would say we probably overachieved slightly last season as well. So, Mahir, what do you think of the last 18 years of Premier League participation? Because a lot of it was participation for Arsenal.
Should I beep him now?
Go ahead. 18 years and we're waiting, Mahir.
18 years in waiting. Like Gary said, I also became an avid follower or an avid supporter of our beloved club because of my cousin. And I mean, I think it's a beautiful thing. And like we've been waiting, a lot of empty promises. I'm a glass half full empty kind of guy. A lot of optimism, positive energy. Love that. But I mean, geez, dude, like even Craig here, Kronk is out, Vinny out, Garlic is out, Edu out, and Mr. Lego here as well, Jet Black.
Garlic.
Yeah, a lot of empty promises. We're gonna build a new stadium in order to compete with Europe's elite in the top competitions, which is the Champions League, and just empty, selling star players, not getting rid of deadwood, keeping on players that are not
Hit that like,
DX in the house too. And what was it? Not only selling players, but also keeping on players that are actually trash for too long, and renewing the contracts. I mean, the whole Eddie Nketiah situation, disgraceful. Xhaka is still there. Mo Al-Neni, I don't have anything against him. You know what you're getting? You're getting an average player that just comes in and fills in a squad place. But all of this has made our decline so bad. And like we pray now, let's see it come full circle. But that we'll just have to see. We'll have to see. We're working on youth projects and all of this jazz, apparently. So, hey man, for the foreseeable future, when we need players right now, it's disgraceful, to be honest with you guys.
BX Gunner, is your firstborn 18 years old, and were you celebrating in 2004? That would be my question. But anyway, Matt, 18 years and waiting.
It's been a long time.
Two league challenges, really.
What's that? Sorry, right?
We really only mounted two league challenges consistently in those 18 years.
Do you know what? I think we weren't ruthless enough, and it's a very difficult situation we've had at Arsenal because we've had such an amazing manager in Arsene Wenger. Obviously, I think he probably lasted longer than maybe he should have done. I think the decline started, or the rot started a little bit before he left, and I know obviously hence why the situation was like it was. But I think when you've had such an incredibly successful history, he's done such an amazing job for the club. Whoever, that period as Manchester United are now going through, look at where they're at the moment. They are in an absolute state in the shambles, and this is what happens when you have such a structure, such a well-established management success, that history, that culture, well embedded into the club. When that changes, that's massive for any organisation, let alone a club the size of Arsenal. And it puts you in turmoil. Ultimately, you become a bit of a tumble dryer. You start into spin cycle. And it's very difficult to settle things down, get yourself settled, and start thinking about, well, how are we going to correct this? What are we going to do to now get us on the straight and narrow again? And that takes time. Everybody wants, and football is such an instantaneous, we must win this season, next season, or that's it. There's no patience. There's no time to give people, the opportunity to build, and this is something that actually I think we as fans need to almost give praise to our club and our organisation for. Is actually we are one of the few clubs that actually gives managers time and opportunity to build something when they believe in them. Wenger obviously gave him all the time in the world. Don't forget that when Wenger came into the club, he was look at the comments that came against very a bit like Arteta. Well, who is this guy? Who is this guy?
Yeah.
We
didn't know who he was.
And look what he went to go on and achieve. And I'm not saying that Arteta's going to go and do the same thing. Who knows? But you have to give people a chance. And there's obviously that belief. I think he is obviously a good coach. I think that, we're obviously going to see what his limits are with the money that he's spent and how we go on from this season onwards. And it's not just him, don't forget. There's a whole structure around him that will impact on his success. He can be as fantastic as he wants in terms of his management style and everything else on the pitch. But if he's not backed, which thankfully he is being backed, but he hasn't got the right structure ahead of him in terms of getting deals done, it's not going to help him much, is it? But football is so cyclical. You look at Liverpool, they were an immensely successful team. They also went through that period where they were kind of finishing 6th, 8th, for quite a few years. They were in mediocrity for a long time, and now look at where they are. United, like I mentioned before, look at where they are. Chelsea, look at what they've achieved, in that period where they obviously got all the oil money. It's like this. Our time will come. I think we are on the up. I think, the Cronkays, to be fair, like I think it was Craig Molloy said in the chat, they are backing him. They are giving him money. So let's just hope that, they are going to do what they say they're going to do and get the players we need this season to add that experience so that we can push on this season. Because, like I say, this season is the critical one in terms of their plan, I think. And this will be the proof in the pudding because he's got his own team now. He's been given the backing. The reins are over to you, Arteta. You've got to go and do the business. So, yeah, it's going to be really, really important this year. And I'm excited but nervous.
Yeah. Melvin's here, so great to see Melvin. His comment is, hi lads, when we planned moving into our new stadium, we never expected the clubs to be taken over by billionaires and countries, so a bit of slack is required. Only a little bit. We did know that we had rivals in Manchester United. At the time when we moved to the Emirates, we had Manchester United as firm rivals, and upon the move, Chelsea kind of arrived on the scene as well. And,
so they've had more than enough time to figure out that billionaires are going to make a difference. This isn't something that just happened 5 years ago.
No,
this happened, 15 to 17 years ago, right?
The last time we won the league, we knew that Abramovich was in the league.
Yeah, no, but I mean, so for me, that's because the planning is just poor. The planning is just poor. The landscape of football changed, right? Immediately when, like you said, more money was pushed into the sport.
Yeah.
The big stadium meant absolutely nothing, and you have to change with the times, but also you have to have a plan. Our plan seems to be set now, but it's been in flux for many, many years as far as I'm concerned. Even when Wenger was there, it didn't seem like he had a plan that would get the team to a point where they would compete for titles, right? Throughout the last 3 or 4 years of Wenger that I saw, I consistently said to myself, damn, if we just find me 11, I always say to myself, just put the best 11 out there, because screw it. You're playing players in position and they suck. Why don't you get the best players you have and put them on the pitch and let them play? Because it doesn't matter, if you're playing the players in a position because they suck. It doesn't,
That's
That
a
is
good
funny.
challenge.
Greg Sana, he's doing it. But like I said, it's all about the planning, and the planning. It seems like we have a plan now, but that planning needs some backing, and if that backing needs to be that we, when we are on the cusp of closing out a target, we just go and do it because in a week from now we're talking about going to Germany, right? And then I saw the first comment come out. As soon as that happens, then it'll take forever to get our targets in because the preseason would have started.
Yeah.
And you know what? I don't understand why that would make a difference because Adu's not the one, traveling with the needing to travel with the team to get them to play. That's not his job, right? His job is to get those players that Arteta needs to do his job. So for me, we should that shouldn't be a slowdown, but
we need some expediency, Gary.
And those players need to be in, and they need to be, like I said, they need to be on the plane going to USA.
Yeah.
So whenever I forgot. That's like for me the deadline day for whether or not you've done your job in that transfer window. And none of this like, some deals don't happen until we don't have time for that. There's certain things you can wait for because of the situation. We don't have time to wait for, the deal is going to happen on the last day of the window. Screw that. Get the players in sooner because like you said, we can't go through what we did the last time, bring the players in after the season started, and then be behind everybody else who's got their squads together a lot sooner, right? And they can survive those bad stretches where the players are injured and out and all of that because they actually started this thing from day one. Like game number 1, we should be feeling like we have a competent team and we should be able to get all 3 points. That game's a 3-point. We got to win 3 points on that day. None of this. Well, it's a Friday, so they're going to be up for it. It's on the road. That shouldn't have been the problem last year.
Yeah,
it definitely can't be the problem this year that we're playing on the road on a Friday.
We need to have PTSD.
We're playing a tough team.
Yeah.
What?
Listen, we need to have PTSD.
No.
We need to have PTSD about going to Crystal Palace. It's a London club. It's a Friday night, and we're opening the Premier League season. Well, where has that happened before? Last season, away from home at Brentford.
And you got your little quiz, pre-test as to what you need to be prepared for. You need to come in, and if you get injuries, it shouldn't matter because you have the resources and you have the squad to back them up, right? We needed that last season. We need it again this season. So it can't be, well, you know what? This guy got injured in preseason and is out for the start. Now you need to have a squad of 20 plus players that you can depend on to get the job done.
Exactly. And just like a podcast, you need to have a team in place that you can depend on. And if someone's not ready, you need to move forward and start without them. Right, Tony?
Yep.
What's your excuse today?
Well played, Ray. Well played.
Because guess what?
Were you getting your car detailed and you got stuck at the dealership? Is that what's going on?
No.
This guy's always...
The plane is
a couple
taking
guys
off.
ran out of gas. So I had to run and help them get gas.
You had to run and help somebody get gas. Dude, what is going on? I'm glad you're helping all your friends out.
Yeah.
Tony, may you be blessed so much for that, fam.
Did you need
You don't get a lot of people that can do that, fam. God bless you, my G.
Definitely. Listen, Craig is right. Arsenal are the third biggest club in England. Historically, still speaking, we've won the most. We've done the third most trophies behind Man United, behind Liverpool, and the most trophies in London. So to give the job to a novice isn't good enough. Listen, he was a novice.
What is coming on? We got these players come. Look at you! You just woke up, man. What's going on?
It's a 5-sub rule, isn't it?
Because I have just woke up.
5-sub rule.
Just making the most of these rules,
Yeah, 40 minutes in, and we can bring Tony and Stan into the lineup.
And you know what? They need to come and bring it because you know what? We don't have time for slackers on the bench. So
it's a 5-sub rule, isn't it? 5-sub rule.
Have we got quality?
We've wanted quality in depth, and we've got it, guys.
Can I block that guy, Ray?
You put him in timeout. Put Elias in timeout.
All right, timeout. Bye-bye.
A little bit banter is fun and all that, but when you spam, you need a little slap on the wrist when you spam.
All right, you got
Right?
a timeout. Next time you
5
you
minutes,
double
right?
up on a message, you're gone.
Stay respectful, or else you get banned. Then that's fine.
Yes, sir.
All right, I'll go to Tony. Just got here before you, Stan, so I'll go to Tony next. Tony, we're losing a generation of Arsenal fans here. A generation waits for the next Premier League title, or even the Champions League. I'll take a Champions League next.
Yeah, Champions League definitely probably come before winning the league. You got Man City, you got Liverpool. You don't know what Chelsea's gonna do, so it's gonna be tough for us to get up there. Especially without a second striker, without fullback cover. Still think we're going for players we really don't need so far. We already had number 10. It's Smith Rowe. With this manager, I think the fans are going to be waiting longer and longer, right?
We'll be waiting. Say over and hand the gaffle over to Stan when you're done.
Just a quick thing. I just saw a tweet. I don't know if it's real or not. Hector Bellerin to Villarreal for like 10 mil might be on the. So.
I noticed that, and people talk about Hickey as well. I think Arsenal only ever scouted Hickey from Bologna, and Brentford have moved on Hickey. So, let's not get overexcited about somebody we just scouted and didn't really have a full interest in. But yeah, we'll get into the transfer links in a little bit. But I wanted to get Stan's take. Stan, since I've been supporting Arsenal, 17 trophies I've counted that I've witnessed Arsenal winning. 5 league titles, 9 FA Cups, 2 League Cups, and 1 Cup Winners' Cup. We've had a boatload of Community Shields, but we don't count them, right?
Not really. I mean, it's nice on the day, right, when you win.
Yeah. What's your take on the intervening years? It's been 18 years since we were invincible and won the league last time.
Well, I'm sure somebody on the panel has probably already mentioned this, but I always cast my mind back to the season where Leicester won the league. And, the other clubs were in a bit of a downward spiral, rebuilding teams, changing managers. That was just one season. We put Leicester to the sword, the team that ended up winning the league. We couldn't get the job done. And I think that had we had won that league, our trajectory may have taken a different curve. There may have been investment sooner to try and maintain any sort of like small foothold that we may have got in the league that season. So for me, that season was the one that stings the most because it was there for the taking. We weren't really in a fit team to win the league, but everything was going our way, and there was an advantage that we didn't take. And sometimes it's those small margins and those little opportunities that you do have to take that will help to get you across the line.
And look, Stan, 71 points we finished in that season behind Leicester City. Good enough for second place, but Tony will remind me till the cows come home. 71 points probably doesn't get you top 4 nowadays. You know what I mean? That's how things have moved on in 6 years.
It's been that way forever, right? It's usually 73, 74 points gets you 4. Just but teams right now are struggling 4 through 8, 9. Then you got 2 teams dominating the league, so they're just points haven't been up there. And going with that, if we got the same amount of points last year or this year, we still would have got the
Does it stand? Do you have a lizard in that jungle behind you, like up in smoke?
No, and it's not my weed garden either, Sam. They're the Mrs. plants, right? They're just the Mrs. regular plants. I don't have my own indoor.
Okay, there's some comments to that effect.
It does look like it. I'm looking at it now. It does look like I've got something going on in there, a grow room, but it's not. I won't be sending a copy of this podcast to my mum.
So there seems to be a very, very well placed, quite bright light in that corner stand.
Let's move on before
it's all got a bit breaking back.
You sound like you had a long night. Yeah. So.
Yeah, I was up late last night watching a bit of TV.
Where do you see our trajectory, Stan? You know, we've had that Eduardo ankle break.
Yeah,
That was
bad
a
as
real
well.
league challenge in 07, 08. We've had
Yeah.
Leicester City gazump us to the title. When we beat them twice, we beat them 5-2 away and 2-1. I thought Valentine's Day, that year, Valentine's Day, I was like, pretty good day, right? We beat Leicester.
Was that the one where Danny Welbeck scored the late winner?
Yes.
Was it that? Yes. Yeah. I mean,
Yes.
it was on, wasn't it? It was in
Should have
touch
kicked
with
on. In February, we should have kicked on from there, but we know Olivier Giroud was not quite putting away. He was firing blanks at that time.
Yeah. Just at the time that we needed him, he just went missing.
Yeah. So where do you see the overall trajectory now? 8th place finishes under Arteta, 5th place. I think we probably overachieved, but we'll take 5th. As it
We
is.
didn't overachieve, right? We underachieved because all we had was the league to play for. Come on.
There's two ways, obviously, to look at everything, right?
What happened when Chelsea finished 10th? The next season they finished first. Liverpool
You're taking all of Stan's questions. I got plenty for you.
Yeah, but he's gonna. You know, you might as well let him talk now because you're gonna ask him a question and he's gonna say what? Yes, and then we're done, and you're like moving on to the next question.
Okay, shut up, Morty.
I think I'm posing
question.
all the wrong questions to Tony.
You do have a mute. You do have a mute button as well, Ray. I'm just saying. So
Ooh.
you do have the power.
All right. So Tony or Stan, where do you think we're trending? You can figure it out which way you want to speak.
I think I see that we're making improvement. I mean, I just look at a couple of the signings that we've already made and may make. Had we maybe made a couple of those signings in the previous season, it might have got us over the line. You know, we just fell short, didn't we, with those injuries? We took the gamble by ostracising a few people out of the team, which I think needed to be done. It was a gamble, but I think it was a necessary gamble. And we were just a couple of points away. We were just one win away from getting to where we needed to be. Yeah. So I don't see why this season, with the improvements, we're not the same beast that we were last season, that we can't kick on and get into the Champions League proper this season. Yeah. You know, either by winning the Europa League or coming fourth. We've got two opportunities to get into the Champions League now.
Yeah. Before we talk about the transfers, just want to get a gauge on everybody's feelings right now in the window. I'm starting to get just a tiny bit nervous about things. I do want Arsenal to rock up and pay some cash when it comes to a transfer tussle with Manchester United. We should. Okay, if there's a link to the previous coach that Martinez has with Ten Hag, you can't argue with that because we've got Gabriel Jesus on that basis. But if it is a situation of £5 to £10 million at the end of the day, when the cold light of the case comes to be, then I'm going to be slightly worried about that. Stan, did you want to keep going, or do you want me to jump in?
On that Lisandro Martinez thing, from what I can understand, is it's a positional thing as well. Manchester United are talking to him specifically about playing at centre back, whereas as I heard it from Ornstein and Harry Semiu on Chronicles for a Gooner, that Arsenal are more concerned of having him playing at left back. So it might be down to what position the player feels is where he wants to go. He may feel that he wants to play at left back. He's 5'9". He may see himself as being like a tricky fullback that can get up the flank. So I don't think it's necessary that he's going to go and work under Ten Hag. Maybe he didn't like Ten Hag. We don't know that. Or because he worked under him doesn't mean he enjoyed it.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. With that said, let me go to Matt and we'll go around the house. You feeling a bit nervous right now, Matt? You want to put like 1 to 10 rating on it? 1, you're not nervous at all. 10, you're freaking out.
Ooh, good question. I'm probably at a 5 or 6 at the moment. I mean, look, like Stan said, you know, there's so many different factors here with these players. You know, some of it's ex-coaches, you know, positions, you know, who they want to play for. It's not just as simple as Arsenal go in and bid a stupid amount of money and we get the player. It's not always as easy as that. you know, and we also, you know, we moan a lot as fans about different things. You know, we moaned when we paid stupid money for Pepe, you know, and look at the mess it's got us into. It's kind of nice, actually, in a way, to see the club actually have some restraint and say, well, no, we're not going to be bent over a barrel, and we're not going to pay stupid money for a player that is only worth, say, 40 million. We're not going to go and slap 65 million quid on the table. It's good in a way that we're actually learning from our past mistakes, and we're not being manipulated by other clubs. I think it's personally, I take a little bit of comfort in that, knowing that actually we're learning. Other clubs are probably going to start seeing us a little bit differently in terms of how easy or difficult we are to maybe negotiate with and not take advantage of, you know, because we have done some bad business in the past. But at the same time, we have to go and get players. You know, we sometimes do have to put that little extra into the pot to get that player over the line, and we don't necessarily want to be waiting until deadline day, you know, to get a player, because that's when you do get shafted and you have to, you know, do silly things, you know, to bring somebody into the club. And like Gary said, you know, you want players in early enough so you can actually integrate them into the team. You know, this is the time now where they want to be training with their teammates, integrating into the system, and, you know, understanding what Arteta wants from them so we can hit the ground running in the new season. So it's a fine balance. And to be honest, it's a very, very difficult job. So yes, I'm a little bit anxious, because the more that clock ticks down and the more you hear, you know, there's decisions to be made by the player, and it rumbles on and it rumbles on, and you don't hear about other players maybe that we're targeting, you do start thinking, what are we doing? But then at the same time, you look at the deal with Vieira, and that came out of absolutely nowhere. And that kind of gives you comfort, because you think, well, do you know what? Just because you don't see or hear anything in the news or in the media or on Twitter doesn't mean that we're not doing anything. So I'm trying to just keep the faith at the moment and just not be. I'm trying to be rational, but that's difficult as an Arsenal fan in the summer window. So I'm trying to stay on the level. Yeah.
Can I add something to what Matt says? And it's something that I was thinking about yesterday. And if you look at that, I was going to say Patrick Vieira, Fabio Vieira deal, which was basically like a Randy Orton RKO out of nowhere, just came out of nowhere. That was one that you didn't see any of the ITKs talking about. Nobody was talking about Fabio Vieira, and the deal got done, nicely done, and the player was delivered. Yet the other ones that we've been linked with that everybody seems to know about, it seems to me that we need to have hold our cards even closer to our chest, because I do think that perhaps Chelsea was alerted to Rafinha because of all the news going around about Arsenal being interested. I don't think if Rafinha was just maybe directly talking straight to Barcelona, that Chelsea probably would have even maybe tried to get into the deal. But because it was Arsenal, because we're local, another London team, they saw what we were doing. It saved them a scouting job. The news was going around, and they got in the way of the deal. And the same thing could be happening with Martinez. And just on the Martinez, it was something that I kind of put in Gary's chat box yesterday when he was on with Sam and Mr. Tom, and it was tongue in cheek, but it is kind of serious. It's like, I didn't even know Martinez was walking the face of the planet Earth. Never knew anything about him. Still don't know anything about him. But I'll be pissed off if he goes to Man United. But that's the way that a football fan thinks. I don't know this guy, but I'm going to be really vexed if he goes to United and we get on a player that I don't even know about.
We've identified a target that we want, and we're up against Manchester United. We see that club is in a mess right now. Look, it's a really good club. It's maybe a sleeping giant, and players will want to go to Manchester United for the name. But you got to look at it. What's been happening in the last few seasons? I see a lot of us in the last 2 or 3 years in what United are doing right now. I'm going to put like 7.5. I'm slightly nervous about where we are, and I need the club to calm me down and allay my fears a little bit. Stan, give me a number between 1 and 10, and then I'll go to Gary and Tony.
For what? What I think will happen with the Martinez
one being really, really nervous. No, 1 being very, very calm. 10 being you're freaking out. What's the club doing?
Oh, for this window, I'm still pretty calm, because we've actually we bought some stuff in early. You know, things are getting done. I see that they are trying to get things done. You know, I know that everybody gives Edu banter because he's on his barbecue and smoking his fat cigars and that, but he is on the phone as well. Otherwise, these deals wouldn't be happening. And even if we do, you know, we've lost out, and it seems on Rafinha, and we do lose out on Martinez, it won't be because we didn't try. Yeah, and I agree with what Matt said earlier about there's no point just like, you know, it's like when you're bidding on eBay, you know that you only want to pay like $50 for the item, but you get caught up in the bid. Someone else is outbidding you. Before you know it, you've spent 65 quid.
So what's your ranking? Because we're looking for the number.
550. All right, Gary, we're going to get round to that. Jesus.
It took a long time to say 5. That's
Brutal,
all I'm saying.
Gary. Brutal.
Gary, this isn't your own show.
It's like Tony spawned into another Tony. It's another Tony.
You know what? I've been trying to wean myself off Tony. It's really hard. It's
Tony,
really tough. I need some support. I need some help. Friends out there, I'm calling. Help me. I'm calling.
We all know Tony and Gary are a package deal. What Tony thinks Gary says.
You get one for two. It's like going to a supermarket. Special offer.
They're a 2-for-1 deal right there.
I am okay.
All right, I'm freaking out slightly. Matt's a little bit calm. Stan's a little bit more calmer. I'm 7.5. I think Matt said around 6. Stan is right in the middle at 5. Gary, where are you at?
I'm probably more 6 to 7. So I guess 6.5.
Answer the question, Gary.
Come in a bit low.
Shut it. 6 to 5. 6.5 is where I am right now.
All right.
I mean, the things that I always say is that no matter what we do, we need to reduce the risk of not getting where we want to go and increase the odds in our favor. So I don't think we've done that enough because I feel like we just got a lot of ifs. I don't know if this is going to work out for some of the moves that we've made. I think only one. Well, Jesus and Vieira seem like the closest to like a yes. I know what they're going to do with those players, but Vieira is going to support. If he's going to push Erdogan most likely. So more than likely, that doesn't mean he's going to start. And I definitely want a starter. Jesus is a starter, so that's good. But I think we need at least one more starter for me to feel good. And we know where that starter needs to go. Yeah. So, and every day that we don't make a move is another day lost. And once we actually get the player, we know how Arsenal works. When it's a big name, I guess. When it's somebody we don't know, I guess they can get the job done in like 12 hours, right? They go from being on the radar to next thing you know, they're coming in for a medical, and then you're like, okay. So we can do that. We can find players that are not on everybody's lists as like top priorities that can help us out, and we still need those players as well. So you've always heard me say we need 10 players, and we still need 10 players. So Vieira is a player that we can pull out, and everybody, once we pull them out, everybody's like, he looks interesting. He looks like he could do a job for us, and he's got the skill sets that we need. He's versatile in the middle of the pitch. It's a good pickup. Well, we need a lot more of those type of pickups, and we do need some big ones, but we need a lot of those players that I guess it sounded like Martinez was that player until he wasn't, and I think our project's a lot further ahead than United's, right? They're gonna have to figure out this whole thing with Ronaldo, right? So that's gonna create a little bit of a mess until they clean that up, because mentally he's probably out the door, but physically he's gonna have to stay and fight through until they figure that thing out. So so like I said, 6 to 7, it's creeping every day. It's going a little bit because just another day lost, and then we're still trying to figure out if we have what our starting 11 is going to be and how it's going to look, and have they actually played in the preseason together in a game? Because I don't put any power into the practices that we do. I don't think Arsenal practices are like where like, all right, this is nah. The games are for me the only thing, because we've seen what happens when you practice pretty well. Doesn't mean anything. All right. So I mean, we just saw that. What's up? Why not? He's in.
Why
there.
not is here
Coming up. So now the happiness level is going to go down a little bit because why not's going to start bringing it to us.
When do Arsenal go stateside? I've got the 20th of July on my head somehow.
Yeah, I think it is later in the month. Yeah.
20th of July.
I thought it was mid July. Like the
Could be.
16th is actually when I thought
Yeah, it could
that
be.
it
It could be
leaves.
the
I don't. They
same-
might play on the 21st. I thought, but I
The
think they
game
leave a
in
little bit.
Baltimore might be the 20th. I think they might play in Orlando before that. Gary, you're about a 6 or a 7 then in terms of freak outable meter.
Yeah. Well, we have the only way that we don't make significant moves that this thing works out is that everybody has either a blip or they have like availability concerns with their players, because they are, is Harry Kane going to struggle like he did last year? Is Chelsea going to, they look like they're trying to fix some of the holes that they had. West Ham isn't playing in Europe, so once again they're going to be in that same situation we were, and they don't have and they're not going to have that extra games that will hurt them. We saw what happened when they did that. Maybe they, mentally they could say, you know what, we got less games and we can do this because we've done it before. So Arsenal's going to have to deal with that. So it's going to come from behind them and above them. So
speaking of Leicester as well, I mean, there's Leicester, there's Newcastle, Aston Villa. Will these teams improve? Will Leicester come back to the force they've been the last couple of seasons? But before that, let me go to Tony, round out this segment. 1, you're really calm. 10, you're freaking out. Why is not Arsenal doing more, Tony?
76.75.
6.75. There you go.
7.675. 7.
What? How did you calculate that? Can you give me the formula you used to get to that number?
I use
He's got.
Tony sets out to confuse everybody and succeeds in that task.
Ask for a number, you got one.
Okay, see, I think you're the most. You're the highest then. 7 point. You just shaded me. I think I hit it up at 7.5. You're a little bit worried, Tony, about what we're doing out there in the transfer market.
Yep. Turner. Yeah, he's okay. Not really sure if he's good enough to be a Premier League backup. Jesus. He'll do an okay job. Vieira. We don't need another attacking midfielder. We need central midfielders, defensive midfielders, fullback cover. Most importantly, we need a third striker. But that being the number 2, because that'd be just good enough to be the number 2. I'm not looking at strikers. Just to me, we're being slow, wasting time on players we really don't need. Rafinha, always a luxury signing because we have good wingers. Got plenty of depth there. Having 3 there is enough. Especially with the 5 subs, you can rest players, so you don't have to use them the full game. It gives them rest that way.
Mm-hmm.
But just overall, last year, no depth at all. We haven't had a midfield depth for 3-4 seasons now. Have done nothing to fix that in the last couple windows. Partey just injury prone. We've only seen him for 2 months what we need, so we definitely need defensive mid. If we see Xhaka and El starting game for us this season in the Premier League, no. We need to be better. We need to compete in 4 competitions. From last year, you've seen that Arteta is not capable of that, so we need a lot better players and a lot more players to be able to do that. And hopefully he uses a rotation like he should. The last year you've seen him play just 13 players pretty much the entire season. Played Saka virtually every minute of a Premier League. We had players that could have came out. Smith Rowe could have came in. Martinelli could have moved out there. Now you have Jesus that can play out on the wing. So chasing a winger like Rafinha for 60, 65 million, just to me, our priorities are in the wrong place. Need to be in the middle of a pitch, back of the pitch, because you have Tierney constantly injured. You have Tommy, several different muscle injuries. So that's concerning. That could be a problem going on. It's not the same muscle. He kept hurting both legs, calves, and hamstrings in both legs. So that's kind of worrying. You got to go in, get sign players. To me, I want to see a bunch of 20 to 30 million pound things. You heard it do 2-3 weeks before the season ends, said we'd go for known, well established players. I think we only need to do that in a few positions. Everybody else, just a good player, you can either put him starting or on the bench. We need depth. You don't have to go break for every player you get, and just get good players. Look at last year, 22 million, 8 signings, stick between 20 and 30 million.
Your
Spend
volume is
60s on your
in and
spend
out a
your
little bit.
60s on your attack, on your mid striker. We need 2 strikers. Go spend 100 million on striker combined.
Yeah, your volume comes in a bit strong, then it sort of fades away a little bit like our Arsenal. Arsenal coming in strong and then fade away a little bit.
You know what? I think we're going to have to put Tony on a special pre-season program, because I'm just looking at Tony over there, right? And the lad looks like he's carrying a bit of extra timber around the old waistline there. So season kicks off soon, Tony, and you don't look fit to play.
Oh,
You don't look fit to pod, so we're going to have to put you on a special training regime.
He's carrying that Willian body the preseason.
but Williams had money in it. What is Tony's having his? William had an excuse. He had tons of money to
Yeah, he had some. Look,
it
whatever
was
we say about
payday.
William, he did recognize that the move wasn't working for him. And
You're no good to us, Tony, if you can't press. We're a pressing team, you know that.
When Tony speaks, the internet listens. Mainly
can I say my biggest concern about this window personally? If I was to isolate what my biggest concern is, I think that looking at the deals that we're trying to get done, for me, a player like Tielemans or a player similar, cut from that kind of has a similar attributes is key. And if we are looking at a player like Tielemans, that's the player that needs to be in before pre-season. That's a player that is going to be looking to be having a starting place in the team. And I think it's probably the biggest area that needs to be filled right now. I mean, I do think that we need a winger. And I was, happy that we're looking at a player like Rafinha. But to be honest with you, I don't think that we're in a place yet where we should be even considering spending £65 million on a player in that position, because that money, I think, can be spread around a little bit more. If we had that money on the table and that money was available, whether in one payment or in 40 up front and the rest in bit payments, we could spread that around 2 players. And for me, you could look at a player like Tielemans and maybe look at someone like Cody Gakpo, who was another winger that we've been looking at. And Cody Gakpo would be good because we'd spite Leeds, right? Because Leeds are interested in him. So we could give them a bit of their own medicine. But my biggest concern is if we are looking for a midfielder, I think that Tielemans or a player like him is really important and crucial to us moving forward, and it would help us from day one.
Yeah. Why haven't we gone in for Tielemans? Does anyone?
Because we're stupid. We're dumb. We're stupid. And it's the only thing that makes any sense, because when there's no plan for me that says, you know what, he's probably the lowest in terms of cost player that we have on our targets that at least we know about.
Yeah.
And we just supposedly saved money on Jesus by going 10 mil under what supposedly he could have gone for easily, and it wouldn't have, nobody would have batted an eye. So if we save some money over here, and we might need to spend a little bit extra to get Tielemans, which for me is in a problem area for the squad, do it. Man, I don't understand a plan that says, you've got some needs. We're going to fill our front line with Jesus. We know we need some midfield help. We know we need some defensive help. And we've got some deals going on. But this one, we're going to sit back and wait. What are we waiting for? I have a feeling that when we're waiting so that Xhaka, something can happen with him before we make a move, which I kind of feel is the dumbest thing, because we've made bigger moves in different areas where we actually had better quality players in-house. Like, for me, that whole Leno and Ramsdale, we didn't need a new goalkeeper. but we went out and got one. Right? Same thing in midfield. We need better than what we got. Partey needs better support around him. Tielemans will give us, I believe, some of that offensively. Defensively, there were there's a player we could have got there, but we didn't. But for me, it doesn't make any sense to plan to sit back and put him on the side while you work on some other more luxury things. Tielemans is a starter for us. Martinez isn't, right? Rafinha definitely would be, but it's not necessary. But it wouldn't. I would take Rafinha if you're just going to throw the money at him because that's what you need to do. They told you a number. You're not going to meet that number. It's going to be really difficult. Tielemans is sitting there, the easiest target. Go for the low hanging fruit that's actually quality for me. That's got to be the easiest one you got on the table right now. And so, as we know, nobody else is looking at him. Once another team gets involved, we seem to just like fold up and in the ground and just kind of curl up, and it's like we don't want to make that. No, this is a player who we need, right?
We don't want to get into a bidding war. We don't want to get into a bidding war. Well, why not? It's Manchester United. Put your cards on the table and see what happens. If it's a relationship with Eric Ten Hag, then you can't really have any regrets about it. Give it your best.
I mean, the report I heard is that they've spoken to Tielemans over a year ago about personal terms, and that's already been agreed. And the player has said, yeah, I'm happy with these terms and I'll come to you. They haven't put in a formal bid to Leicester, but the comment that makes me laugh is that, but Edu is keeping in touch with the players' people. What does it actually mean? That is, they've already agreed personal terms. So what does he do? Like once a week, he just rings up and goes, all right, yeah, how are you? You're not bad. What have you been up to? Yeah, this and that. All right, I'll give you a call again next week. Bye. What's he keeping in touch about?
If it's agreed, get it done.
Exactly. What's he keeping in touch about? What does he need to know? I mean, if you're the player as well and you've had contact with Arsenal over a year ago, surely you'd be excited about that. You've agreed personal terms, and now you're sitting there every day thinking, why haven't they put a bid in? What's going on? What am I supposed to do? Now you feel it. I feel like I was in a bit of limbo. Your club's offering you a contract. Your club's offering you a contract. You got Arsenal you've agreed terms with. They're not pulling the trigger. What's going on? But I do think that maybe for some reason, I think it was Russ Morgan that put it in the box about this might be one of those ones that for whatever reasons happens right at the end of the transfer window. But why? But why?
That's the worst one to happen at the end. Because that's the one that actually right now is a starter.
We need.
Everybody else is not a start. We don't need a Rafinha, so that's not necessary. But we will take him, and he'll start for us.
Are we hoping that instead of paying 25 million, we'll only pay 24.5 million? Is that? I mean,
Tiger's belief.
4 million and 1p. Yeah.
Matt, what's your feeling on? I'll go to Matt and Tony. I got a feeling Tielemans will end up at United, says Craig. But I think from what we're hearing is he's nailed on for Arsenal, not United. But why are we waiting? What seems we don't know what's going on in the background, but why?
It is odd. Like I say, if like Stan says, and I've seen the similar kind of comments and tweets and all sorts of things saying, like I say, we've spoken to him, we've agreed terms, we're kind of leaving it because we've got more urgent, less likely deals that may not come off to focus on. That's mad. If that is true, which you can always take these counts with a massive pinch of salt, but if that was the way you were, that's really bad business if you're going about it that way. Like Gary says, low-hanging fruit. Get the bloody deal done. If it's there on the table, you've agreed terms, and it's a case of just signing bits of paper and doing what you need to do just to get it over the line, get it done. Clear it off your desk. Get the player in the training ground. Integrate him. Move on to the next one. Don't leave it until last week of the season, and then someone like a United or whoever comes knocking on the door, complicating things. Yeah. You're making life more difficult for yourself. It's not that's a really backwards way of doing business, in my opinion.
I can just see United. I can just see United getting to the end of the window, doing loads of business, having a look and thinking, "Oh look, we've got 25 million left. What could we do with that? Let's get in Tielemans."
Yeah. This is the thing that gives Arsenal a bad name amongst other fans. Listen, we shouldn't care about what our fans, but we do because they reflect how the club moves. There's still people talking about Suarez 40 million plus one. Craig has just put it in there as well. 49 plus one for Rafinha. Liverpool fans, they're in the limelight right now. They're enjoying things. Their cycle has come around. It took 30 years, and they're enjoying their time in the sun. And they're letting Arsenal fans have it because the way we've moved the last 10, 15, 18 years ago, 18 years. So, Tony, say over when you're done, but what's your thoughts on Tielemans and Leicester City and Arsenal?
I think there are better players available out there. I think we might be looking at other players as why we haven't really been serious about him. To me,
Smokescreen.
it could also be one of those deals like with Tierney that would just sit there, communicate, keep bidding up a pound for the whole summer. But he's cheap enough, should be an easy buy. If we want him, go get him. It's easy to do multiple deals at once. To not like one, you have one guy just signing deal, making deals. It's just stupid. Go out, get the players you need, get it done.
It's just like doing his shirt in it, Tony.
It's like when Stan said, it's like some of the neighbors are going around to check on the kid who's in his house by himself because the parents have gone off and they think like he's old enough to be okay by himself. But the parent neighbor's going around. You all right? You all right, Tielemans? We'll come and get you sooner or later. But I don't know. It's frustrating what's going on. Craig said giving Nketiah 100,000 in that iconic 14 shirt is disgusting.
My answer to that is if you're that concerned about Eddie Nketiah getting the number 14 shirt, you should have petitioned the club to retire the shirt when Henry left, because we've had like 2 players wear that shirt in between. So if it bothers you that much, that you've missed your chance, man. You should have just gone in and write a letter, but you didn't.
We've had 3 players wear it.
Didn't seem to bother you at that time, right? If it bothered you that much, you would have written a letter and said, "I want this shirt retired."
That number you will always think of Thierry Henry. You will always think of that. It doesn't really matter who wears that shirt afterwards. You're always, and Arsenal fans will always relate that number to Thierry Henry. So it doesn't matter who wears that number afterwards.
I could say. That was maybe too much of a weight for him, Yeah.
Play musical chairs here.
The only other thing I would add to that is like give him this season. Give Eddie this season. He's going to get plenty of goals. Let's debate this.
Well, that's the thing. You're saying it's going to happen just because he's going to get the minutes, and there is nothing that we've seen in a sustained amount of time that we can say, yes, it's going to work. And there's nothing to say that the way you end the season, that's exactly the way you're going to start it, because we've seen the exact opposite consistently now.
The key word there was sustained. You checked yourself. You put
no, because that's it. I mean, we finished off strong, but if he comes into the new season and he's not the starting striker for us, or number 9 or whatever, he's not going to get the minutes. Is he going to sulk when he comes on and not perform? Because guess what? He's not a starter. He's 100K a week is not a starter, right? We've seen that with Arsenal. We've got a lot of players in that range. None of them really we care. We would be surprised if they sat the bench. So the amount of money we spend on them isn't really a big deal. And the shirt, I get that. I think it's a lot of pressure on him, even though everybody says, it's not. But I kind of feel like
are you judging Eddie now or at the end of the season?
I've been judging Eddie since every time I've seen him. Then nothing's changed. Supposedly Arteta says he's his man, right? But then we don't see him playing, so we have to wonder, why are you saying that? And then you don't play the man when you need scoring. We've been needing scoring all season. And Eddie gets not enough minutes, right? We needed Pepe finishes the season really strong. We think, all right, he got 15, 16 goals for us. If he continues that and gives us 15, 16 this year, we'll be happy, right? He came up short. How many did he give us? 2? Right? I don't know what the number is, but way less than the 16 he got last year. And you got to, are we going to see it again? Right? And he said he wants minutes. He's going to get the minutes, I think, in the cup games and the Europa League or whatever. But He needs to show up. I want him to succeed, but nothing
You're shaking your head.
in his past is showing me that it's going to happen. I want to be surprised. I want to be wrong about what I expect to see from him.
Okay.
I think a lot of people are on that same boat. I don't think too many people expect him to just come in and start scoring goals. Because you know what? The pressure was off last year. Now it's going to be on a lot because anytime he steps on the pitch, we're going to expect something from him.
That's
Right? Last year, it was like he was out. He was going to be out beginning of the season. He could have been out, middle of the season, if they wanted to, because they needed to bring in some striking. He came in, he did his job. He did a really good job. But whatever, 10 games does not make it, in this league. You can't have more, right? That's how Willett got made Arsenal 25 mil by having an 8-9 game stretch.
Purple patch.
And
Yeah.
it meant absolutely nothing. All right, when he got to the squad,
We do absolutely need to see a sustained amount of starts for Eddie.
I think you will. I think if we don't bring in another forward, I think you're going to see in 4 competitions, Gabriel Jesus is not going to start every single one of those through the middle. I think Eddie Nketiah will start a lot more games than we're used to seeing.
Yeah.
And there'll probably be games where you'll find him and Gabriel Jesus in the same side. You may find Gabriel Jesus playing wide to give Saka a bit of a rest, and Eddie plays through the middle. You may even find a game where Gabriel Jesus plays on the right and Saka plays on the left. His original starting position for Arsenal was on the left. So I think that Eddie is going to get the opportunities. Whether he makes the most of those opportunities, that's another conversation. I don't know. Some of those goals that he did score towards the end of the season, he scored some nice goals. A couple of those goals were quite difficult goals to score. They weren't all easy tap-ins. So I'm willing to give him an opportunity. If he gets the minutes,
run.
Somebody was going to say that.
Put the tarp up. Put the tarp up. Hide it. Hide. Close the blinds.
Hide the opal fruit. Hide the opal fruit.
Close the blinds.
They're just tomato, I swear to God, right? They're tomato plants, right?
Yeah. Arsenal fans are triangulating your geo sat nav again, your location as well. If you saw Thursday night, you'll know what I'm talking about. Stan on location is going to become a regular segment.
On Thursday, he was in the helicopter giving us traffic reports, and now he's in the Grove, talking about his green thumb and trying to get the sunlight just right. And
it's all been a bit Sean Dyche, isn't it?
We were talking about that a little bit.
There were no opal fruits involved.
Yeah, there's a stash of them behind those doors.
Nobody will touch Pepe with his crazy wages. We were stuck with him. 140,000 a week, I think it is. And Kenny is dog water. Says Mayer doesn't hold back. His cap locks button is also broken. Says Tony. Jesus will get injured. Now, this is the thing as well, Stan. I'll just keep going with you and go around Matt, Gary, and Tony. What if we get an injury? What if Jesus gets injured?
That's the risk I tell you about all the damn time. The risk, we need to lower the risk. Jesus drops. Are we happy to go with Nketiah for the rest of the season? No. Nobody's happy to go with Nketiah as our number 1 striker for the rest of the season.
How do you know though that we're not looking at another striker? I honestly think that there's a chance that we might bring another forward in this window, and I do think that if we don't in this window, you're definitely going to see one in January, because just having we're supposed to be replacing both Lacazette and Aubameyang, not just one. I still think that we're one short, because if Balogun's not ready to take up Eddie's place, what Eddie had being like the third choice, then we're going to need another one. So we might see a Fabio Vieira type signing happen, but with a forward.
Yeah, I think we definitely need a forward of some type, maybe a forward that could be double as a winger or a striker. Jared Bowen, for me, would be a perfect fit. That type of player. A lot like Liverpool, he can slot 3 or 4 players in across the front line. Matt, what's your thoughts? If we get an injury, they say Gabriel Jesus, and let's sort of poke around the team. We all know the soft spots in the fabric, right, of this Arsenal first 11.
Yeah, I mean, if that happened, and God forbid, I like Gary, I would really not be all that confident having Nketiah up top for the rest of the season. Credit to him for the end of the season, given solid game time, you've got to say that actually he did very well. He was often a bit part player and got 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there. And that's very difficult for a player to really hit his strides of form, and actually make an impact. So actually, when he was given more game time, he did actually do the business. He did give us something different. He was making those runs in behind, giving options, working hard, pressing, all the things that we were expecting Aubameyang to do, but he wasn't. So actually, Nketiah did pick up the slack, when he got the opportunity. So I don't want to get too harsh on Nketiah. Yes, he's not exactly, a trailblazing world-class, 25 goals a season striker yet, as we know. But he hasn't seen enough game time to really get a true indication of whether he is a 10, 15, 18 goal a season striker, because he's not been given the game time. So it's going to be an interesting season to watch him, see what kind of game time he gets. He will get more minutes because of the competition, I think. But would I be happy with him being our number one choice? Like I say, pressure, I think that's a lot of pressure on him. I think we do need a third option because, like you say, we want Jesus to be able to kind of fill those versatile positions on left or right or down the middle. And if he's not there, then where are the goals going to come from? We do need an additional. And like Stan says, I think we could well be looking at an additional forward. To kind of maybe replace Lacazette, because we can't not replace both. We've done one, we need another. And Nketiah realistically is really number 3 option for us. So yeah, we'll see. But it's funny because, like I say, you're not seeing any news on that at all. So like I say, whether that's going to be an under the radar suddenly announced, who knows? But yeah.
Stan, what do you see as Nketiah's strengths? I see pace. I think he's able to press. He's able to close down players. And listen, he's not going to be prolific, but I think he can put a chance or two away.
To me, he's kind of in a similar mold to like Danny Welbeck. He's not going to be prolific, but the difference between maybe an Eddie Nketiah and a Danny Welbeck is that I think Nketiah still has time to improve. He's still got some way to go in the game. And, what Matt said about putting pressure on him, I'm of a different opinion. Maybe now is the time to put the pressure on him and see whether he sinks or swims. If he sinks, we're lucky enough that we've got him wrapped up in a deal that we could maybe still sell him on and get something back for him, because we've invested a lot of money, I think, in Eddie Nketiah. And when I mean invested a lot of money, not just a contract, but bringing him through the academy. The time and money that it takes to invest in young players to bring them through. If we do get rid of him, it would be nice to get something back. That's how you run a business. To let him walk away for nothing would be, I just think that would be a really bad indictment on how Arsenal run their academy and their youth system. Yeah. So if we bring in another forward, my question is, are we bringing in a forward that's going to be slotting in between Gabriel and Eddie Nketiah? Or has Eddie Nketiah moved up a rung on the ladder? Are we going to be bringing in a forward that comes behind Eddie Nketiah, but in front of Balogun? You see what I mean? Have the places moved? So we don't know what we don't know what we don't know what they're looking at. But we need another body that's a forward. Whether it's
Gary doesn't hide his stress levels at all. He's just
Stan is talking the truth, and that's what the scary part is that we might just say Balogun and Nketiah, that's our second and third striker, because you know what, we couldn't fulfill our duties as a club and bring in 2 quality strikers after letting we just let how much money go out the door each week for strikers that we had, right? At the beginning of the year, we were spending over 600 or 500K on 2 strikers. And we're not bringing in, enough back, because we need essentially close to 35, 40 goals coming back in, because that's what you pay for when you spend all that money, right?
So I've told you you've not liked this answer, Gary. I think the club is waiting till next summer to sign another class striker. Now we can build up in terms of wingers or inside forwards because strikers are premium. The price of a striker is premium. We got, like you said, we got Gabriel Jesus at a reasonable price for what you go to the store and you buy a striker. Most of the really good ones are really expensive. Darwin Nunez, Haaland had release clause, but he's going to get paid quite well. Yeah, we went a little bit cheaper, but I think we got a player who's ready to step up at the age of 25 and score the goals we need. I think next season we get into the Champions League, whether it's league position or Europa League win, which we hope we do, and we go again with another striker, a really, really good striker.
We're like a year behind on that. We're like a year behind on that plan because we should have got a striker in the summer. I mean, we really should have. And I know we had 3 strikers, but we needed at least another striker with some potential to bring in. And they were available, and they were in our price range.
Yeah,
but do you not think that we need a Plan B type striker though? Because we've got pace. Well, if you look at Jesus and Nketiah, we have pace in abundance with them. Skillful players, both press, both a very similar player but of different quality in terms of their technical level. We need something different. We it's okay having small, pacey, technically good players, but there's no Plan B. The amount of crosses that we put in, corners, we need someone, I think, a little bit bigger, a little bit more of a presence, that Plan B for teams where that kind of, pacey behind, runs behind isn't going to work. Whoever that is, I think we should be looking at something a little bit different as a second striker.
Yeah. Craig was saying Arsenal need a Giroud type player who can hold the ball up, and I think Giroud would 5 or 6 years ago that Giroud would really prosper in our team right now.
This comes back to the whole question: is DCL a player you would want? Because that's but why?
Injuries.
I think his injuries and his goals have just dried up as well.
His goals dried because the team wasn't that good. I mean, they were fighting regular relegation. It wasn't just him that was the problem, right?
Richarlison got a reasonable amount of goals in that team, and now he's going to go to that other team and just get a reasonable amount of goals and not win anything. Hopefully.
There is a forward that we've been linked with, and I think it was maybe Tom Canton was saying that the links have come up again, and that's Gianluca Schumacher from Sassuolo. And there's the kind of player that Matt was describing. I think a player like him would probably fit that bill. He's 6'5".
Another Italian player.
Good area league, very strong.
Just
very
Italian
different,
players put me off.
Very different build and sort of player to Jesus.
DeSambo said he's never witnessed Eddie with all the pressing that he does. Well, he scored a goal against Leeds. That's pressing. He scored a goal against Chelsea where he ran down a ball as well. So you've seen it. You just don't want to believe that it's there. You know what I mean?
Those are bonus goals. Their percentage of your goals going to come that way. But we need him to be making runs at the goal and all that kind of stuff.
Clinical.
Where it's an assist. Those are unassisted goals, right? He made a really good play on a loose ball, but when we need him to, Erdegaard is going to make a pass to him in the box. It's got to be a goal, right? Those are the opportunities. Saka and Erdegaard put the ball in the box as much as anybody else in the league, right? Those need to hit the end of somebody's foot, and it's got to be Nketiah or Jesus right now.
Martinelli and Neil Smith-Rowe. So we do have players who can put balls in there for said strikers, whether it's going to be Eddie or Gabriel Jesus. I don't think I'd be interested in Dybala from Juventus, to be honest.
Not for free. He's available for free, I believe.
Okay, so the Samuel says that's not what he said, but part of it is what you said. I've never witnessed with all this pressing than Nketiah does. Premiership is more physical now.
That's like you said. That's how he got. That's how he got 2 braces, right? He got 2 braces based in 2 games based on that. pressure that he put on the back line, right?
Chelsea
They
goal.
slipped
What
up
about
and
the
he-
Chelsea goal? That was a
He's not,
classic.
well, I think the Assemble's
Yeah.
talking about physical duel. Listen, if you want Eddie to go up against Harry Maguire and win, he's not going to win.
I
Backing
don't know.
in
He said Harry Maguire. I think most people could probably get
Fred.
around Harry at the minute.
If it's a challenge with Harry Maguire and you lose, then you don't deserve to be in the league. I'm sorry. You need to feel confident that you're going to get something on him. If you're there, right? I mean, think about
Loser
it.
leaves
If
town.
you're a striker and you look up and it's Harry Maguire there, you should be laughing.
Yeah,
You
you
put
should.
enough pressure on him, he probably score an own goal for you.
So, Assemble, apologize if I misread your comment. I never want to do that because I always hear about it. But
He's
not
already
you,
hacked you,
Assemble.
right? You're gonna be redacted.
What other areas is there major cover issues in our squad right now?
Fullbacks.
Yeah, agree with that.
Yeah.
Tavares looks a little bit shaky over there on the left. And do we really want to keep pursuing with Cedric or Hector Bellerin? Because Hector Bellerin's back in the fold. So maybe something at fullback, which is probably why that Lisandro Martinez sounded such a good option. And maybe
that's why, sorry.
Maybe maybe that's why we called on Tielemans, because he could play in the middle of the park as well. That Lisandro Martinez. So I don't know.
But then what happened to Zinchenko? We were looking at him, weren't we?
Yeah.
That's gone very quiet, and I don't know whether that was
to get
really
more money, and that's
that
why
official
he
or
dried
not.
up, right? He's looking.
What's
He's
that,
actually looking
Gareth?
for a money. I thought he's actually looking for a money move, and not necessarily to get more playing time, which we can't offer him anything different than City can. Right?
Well, we can in the middle of the park.
Is that where you think he's going to play?
Yeah, he can play both centre of midfield, or he can play left back.
I haven't.
That's going to put pressure on. So there's two players that could take Xhaka on and put him on the bench. That's the problem. I think that's the linchpin to this whole midfield debacle, is that they are so confident that he's going to get the job done for us that they don't want to improve on it. But they've improved everywhere else that they saw fit. Right?
I think so. Do you think that's really going on?
Well, think about it. Where are our concerns? Our concern is Partey is all alone. He's out there all alone, right?
He's got
Sambi might be there in a couple of years, but he's not there tomorrow. And it's not. He doesn't do that many bad things, but he's not doing the things to get us ahead. So it's like we're just standing still, all right? Because I don't hear. I mean, I don't see enough of him like the pass before the pass through Saka. You know what I mean? And that's what we need a lot of, right? If you're going to push him up pitch, he should be getting more assists. And he's not doing that either. So what's the point of having him in there?
Whether you're typing in cap locks, that's fine. It's no problem at all. Or if you're typing in non-cap locks, you'll still get your comment read out. So Mahir,
we'll still read it at the same volume as well.
He's emphasizing Stan. Go get an actual left back. So I believe
Ray, if it's a comment that is written in caps, can you actually shout the question?
I've got headphones.
It'd be good fun
just
actually shouted the ones that are in caps.
And maybe it's a measurement of the 1 to 10 scale of where Craig is in terms of the frustration with the window. Mahir with the frustration in not getting an actual left back. So yeah, the full back positions, I would say the left back position more so than the right back, personally. And Partey would be areas in the field where you wouldn't want suspensions or injuries to hit. Look, we're going to get injuries. We're going to get some suspensions. It's going to happen.
There's an awful lot of games, Ray.
Yeah.
It's an awful lot of games.
That's why we're 10 short, and in reality we're 10 short still, even with the players we brought in, because how are we holding up? And if we need to be going deep in these games that we're playing, right? These cup games we need to be going deep. The Europa League we need to be thinking about playing in the knockout rounds
all the way,
right? But you need cover. You need starters coming off the bench for you.
Mm-hmm.
And not necessarily starters at a level of a Liverpool or City, but we need starters for Arsenal today, right? And I think Vieira is that, but we don't have anybody else. All right,
It's that defensive element, though, isn't it? Like Tony said, Vieira's a great signing, and I think he'll be a brilliant player going forwards. And I think that's a very astute signing from what I think. I mean, I didn't really know much about him. I hold my hands up before he joined, but having had a little look at him, he looks like a great signing. But it's that defensive element that we're missing, and we haven't got that. So we need to address it. It's okay having attacking players, but you need to have a really solid, Vieira and Partey type, centre midfield where nothing's going to get through. You want teams to hit an absolute brick wall in that centre of the pitch, and we haven't really got that at the moment, not consistently anyway.
Yeah. So left back with Kieran Tierney, we need to bolster that down. There is a link to a Grimaldo from Benfica. Maybe we're pulling away from the Martinez and going to Grimaldo.
8 million or something.
Good things I'm hearing about it.
Well, they're not at the same level, right? Like Martinez going for whatever he is, and this Grimaldo is somebody we should be able to pick up as part of the squad depth. He's not coming in to start for us, right?
Now, Tierney
he's not as versatile
we're
as
looking
Martinez.
for him to, are we? That's the thing. That's the whole point. If he's a solid left back, and you look at the prices we paid for, say, Gabriel, etc. If he's a solid left back and he's proven, and why not? Why not? Like I say, we're not asking him to start. We got KT there at the moment, so if he's a solid player, why not? Why not?
More the case. Go ahead, Gary.
I was just going to say, but those are the deals we should be like. It seems like we're in a little of a lull right now, where we're because not necessarily we're just like waiting. We're waiting, right? Supposedly this week, Martinez is going to have a talk with both teams, which I kind of feel like what?
He's in his own clubs,
and that Tielemans is sitting there like idle, twiddling his thumbs, right? Rafinha wants to go to Spain. So then why can't there are depth issues as well. Like you said, if Grimaldo is that type of player that's going to fill a need for us, and he knows if it's on the left back, he knows he's going to play. Right now, he knows he's going to play. Nothing for the last 5 or 6 years of Tierney's career has he played more than 25 games in the league. All right, he's done it once in his career, over 30. I mean, so. There's games there, and we need it. And so, to me, those seem like easy decisions to make.
Yeah.
Right. Martinez sits in front if we get him, and Grimaldo will play when Martinez moves up. Up. So we need all of that. We need all of that. We need all of it. We need all of it. So.
Yeah, as Craig said, Arteta isn't the manager to take this football club forward. We need an elite manager like Simeone. And Tony will hear those are words to Tony's ears right there.
Yeah.
Grimaldo is about
36 million pounds a year for a manager. I think that's why we went and got Arteta, because he was cheap option. Like Stan's mentioned several times before.
For me, I think Grimaldo will be coming to play. He's 26 years old, and he's been winning the league with Benfica on quite a regular basis. Yeah. And if you look at his stats, you can get 30 games, 34 games, 28 games a season out of him if needed. Which you compare that to Tierney, he does struggle in that area. So it will definitely be an upgrade on Tavares. Tavares was kind of like, do you remember that player that we bought? Was his name Cohen Bramble? Left back. Do you remember that young kid who took a gamble? He's kind of like one of them kind of a punt, whereas a Grimaldo is more established.
Yep. What's happening with the mouse? Torreira. Steven said, listen, he's back training with Arsenal. There's some indication he may find the club eventually, but will be 15 million euros.
How is he not any more a distraction in the locker room than any of the other players that we talked about being distractions in the locker room? Right? Especially he actually came out and basically said, they don't want me, I don't want them, let me go. So you're going to bring him into the locker room and then claim, that everything's right in the locker room. You clean out all of the mess, right? All of the players that just don't want to be there, don't want to be a team player. Well, the
thing is, though, Gary,
that's him. That's what it looks like at a different level, but it's the same kind of distraction to the squad.
The thing is, it depends. Is he being if he's being professional when he's in training, he's around the club, he's not making a nuisance of himself, he's not griping and moaning and whinging every 5 seconds and throwing tantrums, then fine, no issues. At the end of the day, what can you do? You've got a player there. He's contracted to Arsenal. Yes, he doesn't want to be there. Yes, we want to get rid of him, but you can't just completely bog him off to the under-19s and let him train there with the academy players, unless he's causing a problem, which I'm guessing by the fact, we haven't seen any news of him training with the under-15s. He's obviously just disgruntled, missing home. Obviously, he isn't, feeling like he's been well looked after or whatever, and he wants to go to Italy or wherever he wants to go. Do you know what? That's fair enough. Sometimes it doesn't work out. It's a shame. I really liked Herrera. I thought he could have had a really good career at Arsenal. And I actually liked him. He was tenacious, aggressive. He wasn't the biggest player, but he liked to get at players and really make a nuisance of himself. So I think it's a bit of a shame. But do you know what? He will get moved on. But as long as he's being professional and he's not making a nuisance of himself, then fine. Let him train. Keep him fit, because ultimately, you're going to find it very difficult to move him on to another club if he's sat at home playing FIFA. You've got to keep the guy fit. Let him do his thing, and we'll shift him on. I don't think it'd be much of a distraction at all.
He's monitoring. Hopefully, he's monitoring the Arsenal ins and outs right now, and we're going to get a news flash live. But listen, as Gary said, hopefully Bellerin gets a move to Emery's club in Villarreal. Hopefully, Torreira moves on as well. So we pick up some cash here and there. Guendouzi's moved on. Has been moved on, and we got about 10 million for him. Let's pick up some change out there and start moving on in the next wave of shitbag 6, as Stan would like to say.
If we could get that lad in a better, fitter state, I'm sure we'd be able to move him on. I'm sure we could, but no one's taking him like that.
We need to give him some games. We need to showcase him.
He needs minutes. The lad needs minutes.
You can't be Willian with that Under Armour pack going on there, Tony. But no, we kid, Tony. Okay, so last season was about fine margins. We're at a point now where we've added a couple of players, but we need more work to be done. We need this season coming, Tony, not to be about fine margins. We need to be winning games 2-0, 3-0, 3-1s, to be more comfortable and not sitting on 1-0 leads. Because the other thing about it as well, Tony, is we never overcame going behind as well last season.
I thought you would have won a roller coaster, right?
I want a roller coaster, but I want it to be a little bit more of an easier ride this season coming.
You just kind of want one of those that just goes around almost in a complete.
I want to enjoy it. I don't want to be holding on where my fingers are stone cold blue or whatever. Gripping on so tight.
Yeah, we definitely need to score more goals. But what we really need to do is play for 90 minutes. You see a team come out either flat and play for like 20 minutes before halftime, or go out, play the last 30 minutes. You never know when the team will go show up. You don't see a consistent team for 90 minutes. How much is that Arteta micromanaging from the sideline? Now we're going to be hearing Gabby, and the players are going to be confused as fuck. Is he talking to me? Is he talking to that one? Is he talking to that one?
Which Gabby is it? Yeah, we got you, Craig. Simeone, you meant. Let's work this one in, Tony. December said, question the way Arteta speaks about Sterling. I'm surprised he chose to go for Jesus over Sterling. Thoughts, if any? My thoughts is Sterling just wants to go to Chelsea and is convinced by their project. And
Jesus went for both of them.
Jesus is comfortable going to Arsenal, knowing he'll be the main man with a World Cup coming up.
I think it's age profile, Ray. Look at the difference. We're going for younger players. It's also the fact that Jesus can play up top and he can play wide, whereas Sterling, really, you're just going to stick him out wide. Gives us more flexibility. So I'm not massively surprised. Like Tony said, I think it's more of a surprise maybe that we didn't go for both. But I think if you were going to pick out the two of them, I'm not surprised really that we went for Jesus. Or I think he fits the bill in terms of what we need.
Sterling is a good player. But we got Emile Smith-Rowe, we got Martinelli, and we got Saka. That's not to say we can't bring another winger or inside forward into the club, but a player of Sterling's profile probably demands that he's playing, just like Rafinha. I'm sure we could find a spot for him, but the importance of getting a striker for us and it being Gabriel Jesus was paramount over Sterling for me. Then Gary, anyone want to jump in with comments there?
No, I think. I mean, I like Jesus, like you said. I think he's like more versatile, and that's what we need. He'll help play, like you say, up top or on the sides, so gives us flexibility there. Sterling, I mean, they're both in the same boat in terms of like, they're finishing in front of the goal. I'm going to be upset. They're going to miss some, but they're going to be there. But they're going to be there. We didn't even have our forwards there for most of the season. You know what I mean? So I know he'll be there, and more than likely that will open things up for everybody else. And if we can struggle to get 30 and 30 out of our youngsters with what we had, and now we've brought in Jesus, and we've got somebody pushing Erdegaard, we should only get we should only get better, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it should be easy for those numbers to go up, especially Gabby, right? Martinelli's numbers should go up. I would like to see them go up considerably based on where he was last season. So,
6 goals and 6 assists for Gabby Martinelli. I think he's a player we should have looked at making a big stride this coming season. Stan?
I think it actually works out that Jesus is on about 194,000 a week. There may be some bonuses added in on top of that, appearances or whatever, but his actual salary is at about 190. But for me, if we were to get Jesus and both Sterling, what we would be getting is one ingredient that I think is really missing from this team, and that's experience. Those two are both experienced players, and not only are they be bringing experience, they're both winners.
They've been there, done that. They don't get upset if they miss a chance. They'll get the next one.
Yeah, and they're winners as well, and that's a key area that we're missing. So that's the kind of profile of any signings that we bring in. I want them to be established players in their teams. I'd prefer to have a Grimaldo over a Tavares in the team at the moment, because Grimaldo is playing regularly, week in, week out.
Yeah.
He's won titles over there in Portugal. That's a step up. We don't have that, So if we can get players that are regular players in their leagues, then that's going to help us.
Yeah. I think this summer it's not so much go big or go home, but go and get the players that we need that have been identified. If we can't get the first choice, hopefully we have done due diligence and have a second name on the list.
I mean, it is go big. I think we drop out of Europa League. That's somebody's going to lose a job. If we go backwards, somebody's going to lose a job.
Yeah.
We come away with no trophies, somebody might have to think about moving on. You know what I mean? There's different, there's a lot of goals that we need to meet, and the pressure should be on. That last 10 games of the season, it needs to feel a little bit like that for a lot of this season. We need to be able to, and we know what it feels like to be in that situation, and we know the players know that they did not perform the way they wanted to. Arteta saw it. So he needs to put the team in a better situation going forward. So, yeah.
I said it before, and one of the things that I'm really concerned about, probably most of all at the beginning of this season when it starts, is the documentary airing while we're playing football. And if I was Arsenal, I would have one of the conditions of them filming would have been that you can film, but it has to be out and aired before the season starts. Because I just feel that it could undo a lot of good work that we're doing on the pitch, because it's going to be dragging up a lot of scenarios about Ozil, Aubameyang, stuff like that we don't need to be regurgitated while we're playing football. And heaven forbid we start the season, we get a bad result at Crystal Palace. Meanwhile, the documentary's airing. I just don't want that distraction. As much as I want to see the documentary, I don't want it being aired while we play football.
And it's stretched out over 3 weeks too. Even more of a distraction.
Yeah, Tony, you have detailed the episodes and when they're. I know you have that hidden away somewhere, but yeah. That's all right. we'll start putting the wheels down for landing here.
And that's why doing the documentary in the first place was putting too much pressure on a team that really is not established enough to take on one, having cameras around 24/7, and then two, like you said, now we actually get to see whatever they want us to see, and we are going to evaluate it and analyze it and figure out either we got what we wanted to get out of it or they're holding back on us, right? Because we saw the results. So each week or each game week when they're discussing things, you're going to remember how the results went and go, well, that's a lie. Or that makes sense. That's why we looked the way we did, So
let me just say, I hope we don't get picked up for another season by Amazon. Let's just say we haven't been that entertaining that they want to, do another season, pick us up again. Stan, you know all about that, picking up for a second season.
I mean, that'd be the worst thing that we could do, isn't it? I mean, how much of a distraction was it for us last season, having those cameras there as an added distraction when we were going through those barren games of 3 games in a row where we had those bad results? Does having that extra magnifying glass around you, that can't be helping?
No. I know when Spurs were doing it, Jose Mourinho was the manager there, and we had a little bit of a laugh about that. So rival fans are doing the same thing to us, Matt?
Yeah, I mean,
time to move on from that stuff.
Yeah, I think so. I think so. We need to move forwards from that. I think it's not good at all.
It starts. And as somebody said, we're going to come full circle here in this podcast. It starts as we mean to go on, and we need to put some work in toward the end of this window. The window should stop for us in a few weeks, but we know it's going to rumble on. Maybe players need to move on. Pepe needs to get sorted. They're saying 25 million is the ceiling there. Probably won't get 25 million.
We haven't heard anything on that either, in terms of any interest or anything like that. It's kind of, I just imagine Edie go around car boot sales around the world just trying to flog him.
Yeah, I mean, players should not be going on that trip. There should be some players that's not going on that trip. I know the numbers don't match, but I don't care. I kind of feel like that. No, they shouldn't be going on that trip. To me, it sends a little bit of the wrong message that they go on the trip, and you don't want them on your squad. We know there's 5 players that were on loan that Arsenal was not expecting to have to bring back into the squad. So why are they part of these types of preseason games? I understand it might have a bad look, but they can't. To me, it's a waste of their time going on that. In reality, they want to be, they want to go play somewhere else. Most likely, for a lot of them, they do want to go elsewhere, right? I mean, Marie, Bellerin. I mean, you name all these players, they want to go somewhere else.
But they've still got to train, right? They're still professional footballers. They've still got to be ready to go if a club comes in for them. And I suppose it's the club's duty as well to provide that training for them. Is it a case of that they stay behind and work as a small group by themselves? But I mean, if nobody comes in and buys these people, because there's no guarantees, then you still then got to somehow integrate them back into the squad.
We don't do that. When's the last time you see us do that with players we don't want? So I'm always about consistency in what I see, right? Because what I saw was a coach who didn't want Maitland-Niles, did not want Chambers, was Marie, all these players gone. And these are all players that we actually used and we actually cheered when they had some really good games in the last year before they left.
Like Eddie.
Right?
They had some good games.
I'm like, it's going to change this time around. Why is it going to change this time around? If it is, then why? Well, we just wasted a year of their career.
The question is then, and I use Hector as an example. Yes, he doesn't want to be here. I think that we should be moving on from him. But let's say no one comes in for him at the end of this window. Are you saying then that when we go to register our players, we shouldn't register Hector Bellerin and just have him just mooching about? And the same with Ainsley Maitland-Niles if he's still in.
But what did we do to them? We just said we don't even play them. Pepe. When did we play him when we needed to score goals late in the season? We didn't. He just wasted a spot on the bench.
Gary.
So I see it in different players.
Yeah, we all agree on that.
For the other players.
But I'm just talking about in the scenario though that we haven't been able to move them on, right? Then what do we do?
You've got to have them as options.
Loans, all of that stuff. The cycle continues, Stan. We
So
keep
for me,
some
those
players.
loans need to happen sooner than later so we can move on because they're taking up some practice time.
Yeah.
Right? Because
taking up too much oxygen.
Bellerin is the captain. Was a captain in in that little game, right? He was a captain. Why?
No, that didn't mean anything, Gary.
It doesn't mean anything, but it means he got to play. Right? Is there something?
Is he a better option, Gary? Is he a better option to have than Cedric?
I don't want either of them, as somebody already said earlier.
I get that, but if that's the option,
no, because if he was better, we wouldn't have let him go. We had Cedric and we had Bellerin, and we let Bellerin go.
We let him go.
So I'm only going by what I saw. I saw him leave. They kicked him out the door. They said go on loan.
Yeah, they did, but we were looking to get a better alternative.
And Bellerin wanted to go
we're
on
going to
loan.
go back to him again. To me, it doesn't send a good message as far as the plan working.
I agree. I'm just playing devil's advocate. I think Bellerin is better than Cedric, and I think he's a good option to have if all else fail. But it's going backwards, and
I actually think Cedric's better than Bellerin. I think.
I agree with Matt.
You think Bellerin's better than Cedric?
I don't want either of them.
Well, no. But if you have a choice, you're going to take Bellerin?
Right.
Let's do a vote.
Yeah.
I will pick Cedric. Stan, you're picking Bellerin?
Yeah.
Okay. Matt's picking Bellerin. Gary?
Cedric can stay, but Odegaard has
which
to tell...
is the better team? Which is the better player? You wanted to know this now.
The better player?
Is it Bellerin or Cedric? Who's the better player?
It's like crap and crap. I don't know.
You posed the question.
I didn't see. I mean, I guess I haven't saw. I
Answer
didn't see.
the
I didn't.
question.
You
Shut
posed
it.
the
Answer the question, Gary.
I didn't see Bellerin play this year, so I can't tell you. Did he look better than when he was sitting on the bench for us? I don't know.
Just when I get the answers, Gary changes the question.
Cedric, yeah, I thought I was a smoke and mirrors person here, but apparently,
I don't want to answer the question because I think it's a Samuel
The question that you
It's
posed.
a stupid question. I didn't pose that question, did I? I didn't ask you. I didn't ask you to answer any question. I was just speaking my truth. That's all.
I don't know what your truth is. If you don't
I
speak
told you what it was. I don't
one?
want either of them, and I don't think Bellerin playing helps us as a squad. We're talking about having some kind of continuity in the way that we do our business. Having Bellerin come in and play the way he is, to me, sends a bad message in terms of what you're trying to do with the squad.
I would take Hector back, providing he shaves off the moustache.
Yeah,
There's a condition.
Absolutely. Gary didn't answer the question, so I'll speak for him. I think you like Cedric a little bit better than Hector. So 2-2 right there. Tony, you, as so often, you get the casting vote, as so often happens.
Neither are good enough.
That's not remember, that is not the question, Tony. Answer the question.
Fired.
Bellerin is nothing without his speed.
Don't even bother arriving late next time. You're fired.
Bellerin with a
Guy shows up late and doesn't even do a job we're supposed to do.
Bellerin is nothing without his speed. He's always a wing back, which Cedric is a wing back. Cedric can get up there and attack better than Bellerin. So Cedric's hair better, but neither one's good enough.
3-2. The top row have it. The bottom row are, as so often in the bottom row, you're all convicts down.
You guys are shit up a creek.
Hector Goodridden says, BX Gunner, we should round out the show unless anyone has. You want to talk about Ronaldo? Real quick. For 5 minutes.
Are we linked with him?
I hope not.
I saw something that Arsenal were in, something that it's 8 million is the price for him, right? And I saw something about, maybe I dreamt it. I don't know. It's early.
But he makes $500,000. He makes $2 million a month. I don't think anybody.
Maybe it was Grimaldo.
Dan, you're just smoking your tomatoes. That's why you're confused.
Maybe that was it, man.
$8 million for Ronaldo.
You're tomatoes.
Listen, I think Ronaldo can score goals. There's no question about that. But he's a good player for the team ethic. And I think Eric Ten Hag, I think Man United want to keep him because they're going to need goals irrespective to keep them afloat. I think it's a moot point, as Tony would like to say.
Is he better than what we have?
He's a mercenary.
That's not the question.
He goes
No,
for
no. The
glory
reason why I
over
asked that
loyalty.
question is because I just want us to keep improving, either at the top or the bottom. So if he pushes our floor up a little bit, then we take him.
He will do that, but he will do it at the detriment, I feel, of the team dynamic.
He's a mercenary, I think. CR7. He goes for glory over loyalty, which is not.
Oh, you're talking about. Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about somebody else. I don't want him.
It's not a bad attribute to have for an individual, but I think sometimes it's a terrible attribute to have for a team.
Thanks, BX.
But he will score you goals. But you got to take a lot of moodiness maybe with it.
Have a good work day, BX.
If he can't handle Guendouzi, how is he handling Ronaldo?
It's a moot point.
I want to sit you on the bench for this one, Ronaldo, because I'm starting Eddie.
By the way, since Gary evades questions, you're all entitled to evade this question and not answer it at all, right? Is that fair?
I said I don't want him.
Yeah, we will pass on Ronaldo. I think it's kind of unanimous. Anyone would take him? Who would take him? Anyone? No. Last offer, going for 7 million or whatever it is. Piers Morgan asked him to come to Arsenal. Gunnar Glenn, good to see you as well. And listen, if anyone hasn't seen that Formula One race, it was really, really.
Don't spoil it.
Not going to spoil it. It was a
I'm
good
watching it straight after this.
All right, don't say anything. Anyone.
Hashtag anyone but Max. That's what I pray for.
All right, so a generation waits. We can only hope that Arsenal get better and improve as the years go on here. Some of us don't have many years left. Maybe we do, maybe we don't. So,
yeah, nothing. Tomorrow is not. It's not. What do they call it?
Not guaranteed.
Not guaranteed for sure.
Tomorrow's not guaranteed. Okay, who wants to start off on their final words?
Matt does.
Volunteers.
Okay.
Matt does start with what was Sunday dinner was. That's where Matt.
Yeah, what's your Sunday dinner, Matt? And give us your final words.
Fajitas tonight. I had fajitas, and it was bloody good. I'm gonna say it was really, really good. Yeah, after a long walk this afternoon, that was very welcome. Yeah, I just think we've got to hold tight, guys. I just think we've got to have a little bit of faith, wait and see what happens, what you see and what you hear on all these social media accounts and people that claim to have an inside on what's going on. As the Vieira deal showed, most of us don't have a bloody clue what Arsenal are doing behind the scenes. So let's just be patient, wait until the window's shut. Yes, get excited. Yes, you'll have the roller coaster of emotions as you go through the summer, waiting for deals to be done and things to be announced and whatever else. But I think we've just got to stick with it and just have some faith in the fact that they're going to be doing and making moves and doing some business. And then if they don't, or they don't do what we think they should, we can all discuss it, and criticize when the window's done. But personally, I'm keeping those crossed. I have some faith that things are being done.
Yeah, listen, it's going to be a roller coaster. Well, let's not have a white knuckle roller coaster season. Let's make it a little bit easier on ourselves. Those fine margins we lived through last season, we need to. If we go goal down, we need to win some games going to goal down. We need to do better against the top teams, and we need to be more consistent. And it starts here. It starts in the middle of the summer window. Go and get a squad that we can say with some certainty, yeah, that's a squad that can go up against that team or United or Chelsea or any of the other teams. Who wants to go next? Gary,
I will. I'll go quickly because I'm going to basically just follow on from what Matt said, and I'll just add the caveat of there seems to be that Arsenal do have a lot of cash this summer. That they were going to lay out a lot of money for Rafinha. That tells me that there is money to be spent. Arsenal have money to be spent. There will be some more incomings. Who knows? Hopefully, we know about the ones that we're looking at. There must be some other people on the list. We may not all get who we want, but as Matt said, once that window slams shut, that's when I can answer the question, where do I think we'll finish? Like somebody asked in the chat box. I need to know what we're working with. And then we can pull it apart, and we can either slap them on the back and say a job well done, or we can say, oh, you've pissed the money up the wall. You've pissed the money up the wall again. So I'm confident more people will come in, and I can't wait to see who it is.
Yeah. Thanks, Stan, for joining. Matt also. Gary or Tony, who's going to get the last word?
I'll let Tony go. So yeah, I will. I'll let Tony go last. Is what I meant to say. Sorry. Yeah, like I said, for me, when those players get on the plane and go to the USA, that's when I'll know. Kind of, I feel that's when I'll have a good idea of where we are. No matter who we bring in after that, because that will just slow down. When for me, it'll either push us back a little bit or it'll take a little while for that to click. So that's what I'm looking at. So when they get on that plane and we have whoever we have, then that's for me a better gauge as to who's going to kind of start the season. Because I kind of feel like it's going to be a little while for new players to come in and get acclimated to the squad. So we need to do it sooner than later. Like I said, I'm still, I like to see something happen. I know Jesus is going to happen, but everybody else, we still got a couple more holes to fill. So
I really thought he'd get announced today, being that it's Sunday and all that stuff.
Some people said Sundays.
They do stuff like that on Sundays.
We'll do a little bit of work on Sundays. Yeah.
So, yeah.
If ESPN can go to work on Sundays, then everyone else.
It's going to be tomorrow, I think, to start the week off on the good foot.
Start the week off with a bang, Stan.
I don't.
4th of July.
Great to have you, Craig, here, Stan. And listen, we're going to try and get a few more subscribers. Great viewership on Sundays. If you can't see us on Thursday nights, I know it's a crazy hour in the UK. There's still some of you that do watch us live. Do watch the replays as well. Gary, you had a couple.
I was just going to say, everybody in the chats, thank you for joining us. We do this again on Thursday and Sunday, so we'll see you then. I will have my show on tomorrow, so if you want to be on, come on and join us. That'd be cool.
I'm going to try and do something, so I don't want to interfere with your time. So we'll talk about that off. I want to maybe do something tomorrow as well. But yeah, Gary, thanks for joining. Craig, great to see you. Everybody here, great to see you. And Gunnar Glenn is here all the time as well. Tony.
Yeah, and don't forget to hit the like, because it does it makes the videos get higher up on the stream. Other Arsenal people get to see it. Don't ask Tony, just do it.
Don't ask Tony, just do it. Exactly.
Yeah, we'll figure it all out, Tony. You just click like, right?
Two more shows to 500 videos, believe it or not. So next Sunday will be a 500 show.
Why the fuck do we have 500 subscribers yet?
What is?
I know exactly. That's why I'm going to start pushing for subscribers, Tony.
Smash.
It's all about quality. Everybody in here is quality. It's not about quantity, right?
Yeah, but we used to be at 500 by now, right? We've been stuck at 4 something forever.
Yeah. And here's another thing. Leave comments if you disagree. Let Gary know you disagree with him.
Don't let Tony know, or you'll be in the chat. You'll be writing all night.
If you want to know what Stan's really growing, put it in the comments.
Oh no!
It ain't tomatoes.
If you want to tell Tony he speaks sense, that's your prerogative.
Oh, come on! If you don't lie to yourself. Stop.
Yeah. Listen, I don't want to really. Everybody says they don't want to get monetized, right? But you want to get to 1,000, you could do a little bit something with the 1,000. Have to do something special, right? Yeah. Listen, people have been calling for Kahoot, so maybe Kahoot will come back next Sunday. Let's do that for the 500. Anyway, Tony, you've been waiting. Take it away. Bring it down. Bring the plane down, Tony.
Oh crap! Oh, no. With your seatbelts on.
It's gonna be a rough landing.
A week off with a bang.
Hand the controls over to him.
Tomorrow being 4th of July. Shut up, Gary. Tomorrow, starting off with a bang, getting Jesus in. That'd be good. We need to go out, get business done. Instead of spending $60 million on Rafinha, like Stan said, go sign 2 players. Go get Neves and Tillmans. What was that hurt? And we'd definitely be rid of Zaka. But everybody was real hyped for first 10 days. Now everybody's kind of.
It's not over yet, though. You can bring players right in just before 12 o'clock.
It's not over.
No, that's not a good plan either. Terrible plan.
And we need to get out and get our priorities is what we need to be going after instead of these luxury flares. But anyway, tomorrow is the 4th. Everybody needs to celebrate the freedom. Stop trying to get people to believe what you do. Be yourself. Be an individual. Don't try to take rights away from people because, oh, I don't like this, so you shouldn't have it. Mind your own business. Practice what you want to practice. Do what you want to do. Just be a good human being. It's not that hard.
Yeah.
Wise
All right.
words,
With those words, we'll get out of here. Thanks, Stan and Tony, for arriving to boost the. We needed reinforcement.
We knew they were going to be late. We saw the traffic cams with them stuck in traffic in downtown London. They were definitely going to be late. They should know better than to travel through the downtown. Come on.
Big thanks to Mahir. Right now he's freezing down in the southern hemisphere. It is wintertime down there, so he's freezing his balls off down there. And thanks to Gary and Matt for starting off the show as well with me. So
thank you, and thanks everyone in the chat. It's been a good one tonight. Really enjoyed it.
Appreciate the crew. We have a crew of people who do not say yes to each other all the time. We disagree on a lot of things, but we always finish the show on good terms. And hopefully Arsenal can do the same thing for us, Arsenal fans out there. Let's see what happens tomorrow. Maybe something breaks, okay?
Maybe you'll be at an amusement park riding a roller coaster, right?
Definitely. Say good night, Tony.
Good night.